What is up, Business Freedom Podcast listeners? This episode is the good, bad, ugly of 2019. And this is for me personally and professionally. Just a rant and hopefully sharing some things that you can learn from that you maybe can avoid in your business or your personal life. And then maybe some things that I'm doing really well that you can learn from and sort of apply in your business and life. So I want to kind of break this thing down into, and this is how I view my success and how I take inventory. I do it in just the different areas of life and business that matter. And you'll notice that really there are 8 areas that I'm going to go through, and I'm going to kind of say things I've done good and things I've done not so good. And only 2 of them are related to business. One's business and one is finance. And then the rest of them are personal. And honestly, the things in life that matter more than, what we get so caught up around our money and business. And at the same time, I've learned a lot in those 2 areas as well. So let's start with, business. So I'm involved in 2 businesses. Real Estate B School, launched that in early 2013. And I've been a real estate team leader since. Technically, I had my first hire in 2008, early 2008, although I got into real estate in 2007. Hired my first buyer agent in late 2009. So depending on when you want to say I started my team, I'm a good 10 years into being a true business owner where I had more than just me and an assistant. So me, an assistant, and a buyer agent is 10 years old now. So what went well in 2019, I continue to have leverage in in the real estate team. So I'm pretty far removed from that business. It was a good year in terms of just going deeper on some foundational systems in that business, simplifying even more to be able to multiply in the future. And I'm really doing high-level systems work, all 20,000 foot view kind of things. I get involved in some systems and projects around recruiting and those sorts of things. So that continues to go really well. In Real Estate B School, what went well this year? I am out of sales again for the 4th time. So strategy sessions are essentially our opportunity to invite someone into Real Estate B School. We've shifted over to a pilot program, which is a free look at Real Estate B School. That's going really, really well. We're at the highest membership we've ever had for Real Estate B School. We crush every record in terms of sales and profitability for 2 quarters in a row, which is really great. We're having more impact in the businesses and in the personal lives of our members than ever before. So that's really awesome. Challenges in business, business continues to occupy most of my waking thoughts. And that is an affliction of a true entrepreneur, and I'm working on it. I'm meditating, I'm praying more. I'm even trying out EMDR therapy, which I haven't gotten too much into. So that's business. Finances, again, everything's going great in the finances. I've gotten to the point we were actually 100% debt free, including our home. And then 2 years ago, we moved into a really nice home, super blessed. And I did take on a mortgage to acquire this home, not because I had to, really because rates were favorable. The goal still is to get rid of the mortgage. And that's probably a 2-year process. So I recommitted to tracking my net worth. I got away from it a little while for a couple years. And so on the 10th of every month, I track my net worth. That's in our profit first cycle. And I track my liquid net worth and my overall net worth. And I'm seeing that go up pretty well. So that's great. Nothing negative in the area of finances. Let's get into husband and father. I like to consider these separately. As a husband, what went really well is that I'm super intentional around time with my wife, Julie. We got away probably for 4 or 5 just vacations, just her and I. We've done, I think, 6th or 7th annual honeymoon. So once a year, I surprise her for a 7-day getaway with no kids. And I call it our honeymoon, which is an excuse to spend a good chunk of change on a trip that makes us just reconnect and makes her feel special. So we continue that tradition. Date nights are consistent. We go every Saturday night we're in town. We do a date night. We go through a series of questions, our date night questions, to connect and make sure we're on the same page. I feel like I'm really leaning in there. What didn't go well? I think I tend to still be a little bit critical of her at times. where I forget sometimes that she's not necessarily created the exact same way as me, which is a good thing because I wouldn't be able to stand being married to a female version of myself. As a father, what went really well is I've managed to take more Fridays off and really disconnect from the business. I've gotten out of email, substantially out of email. I've removed Facebook from my phone. And so I'm more present in the times that I'm not working, even though I'm afflicted with the thinking about business all the time. I would say I'm showing up in those times where I need to be a good dad and support Julie in that role. I'm doing really probably the best that I've ever done. What didn't go well in 2019 as a dad, I've had moments where usually when I'm stressed out about something else, where I'm sort of at the tipping point with my stress, I'll carry that over into a conversation with the kids. They're 9 and 12 now, Kendall and Anders, and more yelling at times than I would have liked, and that makes me really feel bad. Like I just don't want them to see that side of me, and it's inappropriate. Julie and I have also done a really good job getting on the same page with our kids in terms of how we're going to work through challenges with them, and we're doing really well there. So that wasn't great as a dad. Probably a dozen times, probably more than once a month, maybe twice a month. I have a blow up where I let my stress get the best of me, and it comes out on either Julie or the kids, and it's really not great. And I'm really shameful. I don't know if I'm really ashamed of it when it happens. And so just really, I come back to them when it happens quicker than I used to. And I ask for forgiveness, and we work through it. And I say it wasn't, sometimes it was them. So straight up, you really drove me crazy, and I had nowhere else but to go than to be angry. And usually it's more than that. So that wasn't great. In my faith, what went really well is that I've really committed to being intentional with my study of the Bible. And so, and just having, it's not every day by any means. My goal is to have 45 minutes every day where I'm reading and studying and meditating on the Word of God. And it's not that great. I'm probably averaging 3 to 4 times a week. And it's way more intentional than it used to be. I used to do it as a checking the box exercise. And I did Bible in a year, which was just boom, 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 check the box, done with it for today. And it would make me feel like I accomplished something. This is more intentional in studying and asking myself questions about how can I apply this? What was the context of this reading and that, and just having more conversations with God. I think, depending on where you are in your faith journey, it's really been helpful for me to lean into that relationship, knowing that the things I stress about aren't things that really even ultimately matter unless we are loving somebody or connecting with somebody or helping and serving somebody, a team member, a client, someone in our community, a family member, a friend. That's all we're really called to do. And that's good because that works in business. If you do that in business, you're going to be super successful anyway. So finding myself doing more of that. What didn't work is being distracted during quiet time when I should be meditating or reading and studying. I get distracted. If I use my Bible app to read, it's full of distractions. So that didn't work great. My pride is still probably the overarching sin that I have, in terms of me thinking I can do everything on my own and all the things I've achieved are my doing. And that's just not the case. My physical body, this is probably where I had the best results this year. In my physical body, I came into 2019, I think I weighed like 224 to 226, somewhere in there. April 15th, I committed to a 90-day push where I was just going to eat super clean. I didn't drink. I ended up not drinking any alcohol for 6 months. Not that I have a problem with alcohol. It was just one of those things that I had to get out of my life in order to get really clean, to have the result I wanted in my physical body. I ultimately got down to 191 was my low. I'm hovering at about 194 currently. So I've prepped up a little bit. My goal for next year is to get down to 182, which was my high school weight. 192 was my wedding weight, and that was my goal for this year. So that went really, really well. I've been consistently working out, 2 cardio, 2 strength sessions. I've been consistently getting 7 to 7.5 hours of sleep per night. I think what didn't go well, I'm a little spotty on my water. That's super important. My physical body, sometimes my diet isn't as on point as I know it needs to be. Like right now, last 3 nights we've had like date night. Julie went out on a girls' night, so I ate some snacks watching TV that were crappy. We had a date night where I had like popcorn and candy at the movie theater. And then last night we had a party. So 3 nights in a row where I was off plan totally. So that's not great around the holidays. The next area is fun or self-care. What went well this year, this was an area of my life where I struggled in the past. I call it enjoying the ride. And I've been really great about probably 3 times a month, I do a 2-hour massage. Really hard for me to sit still for 2 hours. You think it would be easy. My mind spins, to take care of myself and let somebody, work on your physical body. And I get deep tissue massages, so it's part relaxing, but part really painful. That's been really great. I've also been doing float tanks where you float in salt for an hour in complete darkness. It's like meditative and restorative, and it's in salt water, so it's supposed to like remove toxins from your body. That's been awesome. Been meditating in the mornings. I need to do what didn't work well. Oh, and we've traveled quite a bit with the kids and done great trips, and that's been awesome. What didn't go great this year in terms of fun and self-care, sometimes I'll get away from my sleep, which is, it's for the physical body, but it really is self-care. I tend to get overly serious about little problems in the business, and they tend to affect my time away from the business. So I'm not really present. So that affects my ability to be sort of like joyful and happy like a kid. And then the last area of my life that I take inventory for 2019 is my emotional well-being. What went really well is that I've really had a practice of gratitude. I use the app on my phone called 5-Minute Journal. In the morning, just what you're grateful for. At the end of the day, what awesome things happened that day. And that one practice will change. It did for me. It really helps me sort of stay positive and remember all the great that's happening in the world. Emotionally, what didn't go well, I still carry, and I think it's like an affliction. I mentioned that earlier. I still carry like a low level anxiety and worry, like what's going to go wrong. And it's funny. I read somewhere, someone mentioned to me that children that had like an interesting quote unquote childhood. I was the child of an alcoholic, and my parents got divorced when I was 4. My dad drank until I was 15, and we stayed with him when he was drinking, and probably a pretty chaotic, not probably, definitely chaotic, uncertain childhood. And a lot of times the reaction to that is that you want to control everything, and you're waiting for something bad to happen because you were programmed early on in life. This is a real thing. And so I think I go through some of that, even though my life has never been better in all areas that I've focused on and I've gotten results. I still have like what's going to go wrong. I'm anxious a lot of the times, and there's no reason in my environment, in the businesses or in any of my relationships that I should be feeling that way. I mentioned, I don't know if it was on this podcast or the last one I did, that I'm actually going to a therapist, EMDR therapist. It's like what is it? It's something, I heard it on another podcast. It stands for, and I'll report back to you. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. So they try to attach current sort of states of feeling, around situations in your present. They try to link it to something in the past. They don't have you talk through all the reasons why that could be having you show up jacked up today, but they link the two, and then they have you do some crazy things with your eyes, and it's supposed to desensitize and not have you feeling that way. And so who knows if it works or if it's just voodoo. It came highly recommended from multiple sources and people that I know. And so I'm starting that journey, and I will let you know how it goes. And that, my friends, is it. So as you think of the areas of your life that matter, your business, your finances, your role as a spouse or a parent, your faith journey, your physical body, the fun that you're experiencing, and your emotional well-being, go through and take an inventory as we close out this year. This episode is airing on New Year's Eve of 2019, the last day of the decade. And take an inventory, like what went well, what didn't go well in these areas, and how can you learn from that and kind of carry that momentum into the future. So that is my 2019 debrief. Hopefully there's some value in there. There's some, maybe some things that I'm doing well in there that you can learn from. And that's, I bring as much transparency as I can to this podcast so that it can help you. That's my whole premise about being in business for Real Estate B School, is that I want to make the journey easier for you. Even if we never formally do business, if you only consume the information on this podcast, I want to let you know that I mess up. I'm just as jacked up as anyone out there. And the difference maybe between me and other people is that, and other business owners, that I'm willing to go into areas where I'm uncomfortable. I'm willing to shine a light on something that maybe is not, it doesn't make me so proud, or brings me a little bit of shame to admit a certain thing. And I do that consistently because I want to keep showing up in all these areas of life that matter. So if you're at the point in your journey where you just need help and you've achieved what is already traditionally successful and it's not what you thought it was, you don't have the time you want, the money isn't what you thought it was, and you're super stressed all the time, you've already achieved traditional success. For us, that's a minimum of 300,000 to 500,000 GCI. You've got an administrative assistant. You probably have leverage on the buy side as well. So you've kind of started down this path of building some leverage through people and systems, and you probably don't know what you're doing. And that's not a diss on what you've done. Just realize that there is a rhyme and reason to how to do this. Go to Real Estate B School, apply for the pilot program. The next steps are obvious there. We'll jump on a phone call with you to see if you're a fit. We'll deconstruct where you are now, where you want to go, and what's holding you back. If you are a fit, we'll get you into the pilot program, which is 30 days of free coaching, where you build a 3-year vision, a 1-year plan. You break that 1-year plan into 90 days, and then break that 90 days down into what you should do every week and what you should track in your business every week, so you can build leverage and scale the business dramatically. So you have more time, more money, and less stress. You do it through sustainable systems and empower people. We've got it all built out for you where you can swipe and deploy all of it. So that's a lot of words. If that's you, go to realestatebschool.com and we'll see you there. Have an awesome 2020.